That's weird. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This time we're live in the Roofing on the Rise studios, where we bring you innovation and education in today's market. Excuse me while I click go live on Instagram over here as well. We are in the holiday season, and one thing that continues to go in the holiday season is bills and life and storms and claims. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I have an awesome guest, Blake Grissom. Blake, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Great. Just finished up some Christmas shopping today. You know, us guys like to wait till the last second. So got the rest of that knocked out, man.
That's what it's all about. I mean, if you're not shopping late, are you even shopping at all?
Right. I ended up having to swing by the mall. I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Oh,
but no, it wasn't too bad, man. I was kind of impressed how I got in and
out. If you guys are watching, you're like, what is this like Superman logo on its chest? That is our new Lux Roof Company brand. We have just launched a roofing company in the Houston marketplace. We will cover all of Texas, but we are focusing in Houston. So if you're looking for an awesome spot, if you're a sales rep that is out there that's looking for someone that's going to do it by the book, we got you. We'll take care of you. And I'd love to get into that on a whole completely another day, another topic, another time. Lux Roof Company, love to bring it to you. But what's awesome,
congratulations on that, man.
Dude, this is big. Thank you so much. And I know a big apology on my side because we recorded an amazing episode and it was my freaking audio was trash. Couldn't produce it. Sorry, bro.
All good, man. All good.
So if you're following along, insurance is a big deal. You know, you're out there, you're knocking doors, you're dealing with insurance adjusters. And I think, Blake, you brought up a really good topic of discussion. It was in a group online. And I'll let you jump into that. But before we jump into that, I want to bring everyone's attention because we're in the storm restoration space. You guys are always asking about leads. I am sponsored by Jay from the ROOFNUTS, and they provide our company amazing storm leads. So you guys are out there, and I know, Blake, you even asked about leads, but retail leads, completely different. But the ROOFNUTS is where it's at, man. They're going to give you a specific time and date to go out to that property. The homeowner wants you there. You get their information. You know that there's no contractor and no contract, and that they are interested in what's going on. Not only that, but you're going to get a couple of storm maps, especially if they overlay. You got like wind and you got hail, and you're going to get those maps and the dates and times in which that it was affected by hail. So you don't even have to worry about what is the data loss over on this side of town. No, that's a big deal for a lot of sales reps that are out there selling. Know that at Lux Roof Company, we got awesome leads from the ROOFNUTS. And if you're wondering, like, how do I get leads from the ROOFNUTS? There is a link right here. You just click that link, get leads from the ROOFNUTS, and you got it. It's right there. But yeah, let's jump in. Let's get right into the nitty gritty. You brought a awesome topic of discussion about insurance adjusters going into a named storm, and some of the stuff that happens whenever they go into that storm. Could you bring us up to speed?
Yeah, I mean, there was a post about it yesterday. Just being that, and I just let me start off by saying, man, this is not to bash adjusters because, most of the adjusters we meet out there are great guys. They're and gals too. But there's bad apples in every group, and there's bad apples in our group too. So just want to start off saying that. Yeah, I mean, we just heard, saw a post about it yesterday that a big IA firm pretty much was doing some training with some people, and they were told to not cover roofs from the get-go. And wow. This specific gentleman, kind of touched on that. It was pretty much stating that, hey, like, we haven't seen the damages. Like, how are you coming to these conclusions? And just that he obviously didn't feel like it was very ethical to really make that decision without even seeing the damages, and that's just kind of a unfortunate position that it puts them in, and then it puts us in, that they're sent out there pretty much to be told no. And yeah, man, they gotta follow what they're being told, but at the end of the day, they need to be able to make the decision wholeheartedly. Hey, is this damaged or not? And then they also got to make the decision, if I'm being told to deny this stuff from the get-go, like, maybe find a different IA firm or whoever it may be, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking at people's houses. We're not looking at their cheeseburger on a Friday night. This is where they come home to. They need to feel safe, and they deserve to be able to have their homes put back to pre-loss condition. I mean, everybody pays pretty good money for that. We all know everything's going up and up, and insurance is no different from that. So these premiums are going up every single year. So
this isn't new though. Like this practice is not new.
No,
I'm glad that you brought this up. 2016 hurricane, is it over here? Hurricane Harvey. I got a skull, rising out of Texas with water coming out of it, for Harvey, because ultimately it was like a death moment for the Houston area, below Houston, all of Texas on the coastline. It was like there's so many people that died, businesses and all sorts of things that rose from the ashes. And when Allstate and State Farm and all these big insurance companies went down to start adjusting these losses, one of my clients, they called me because someone referred them to me as I was a trustworthy individual, right? The reason why they did that was because their insurance adjuster wasn't even an adjuster. He came knocking on the door, knock. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, I just wanted to let you know, we're sorry that, you experienced a loss. Here's $10,000 if you don't file a claim. Oh, wait.
Really?
What? Wait, what? Yeah, this is to go ahead and settle for your loss. Just don't file a claim. You know what that is? That's fucking hush money.
Yeah, it is. And the people that probably needed that money so bad and were in, bad off situations that are accepting that, man, that's just not right. Just do what you say you're going to do. I mean, that's the world that they signed up to be in, is to pay out when stuff happens.
Yeah, but that's
not bad stuff's going to happen. It is what it is.
It just doesn't fit their mold though. Like it's the business model to get out of paying the loss, right? Like that's their main objective. It's a game. And I feel like it's the biggest game that's played, financially, so to speak, in the roofing sphere. Like, why would an insurer set out a contract and then not honor the contract, and then put so many stipulations and small holes that you got to jump through that are fucking got a ring of fire around them, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, what's your opinion on why these insurance carriers are getting so bad?
Well, I mean, I want to say I get it, because it's a business, right? Business needs to be profitable, but it's getting to the point where they're almost pushing everybody. Hey, I don't care, sue me over it, And
Right.
let's just look at roofs, for instance. Bad hailstorm comes through, tears up the roof, $15,000-$20,000 roof. Most people either don't have the funds or just don't want to go to court over a roof for $15,000 or $20,000. I mean, hired a lawyer is not cheap either, and they try to use that whole bully tactic, like, just take me to court. And a lot of people, when they do go to court, they will settle out of court most of the time because they know they're wrong, but they want that person to have to push them to do that. And them kind of taking that avenue of, like, sue me and then we'll take care of it. That's just not right. It needs to be more ethics brought into the industry. And I wish there was another way to really have them looked over more. I mean, I know there's companies and everything, but they do a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? They pay off a lot of these people too.
Exactly. We need regulation. We need real regulation. We need the contractors, me and you, that are contractors, to wake up and go to Austin and go and actually take a stand, like, or wherever you're at, right? Like I'm in Texas, so it's Austin. You're on the East Coast, right? South Carolina. So that would be going down. Charleston's the capital, right?
No, it's not really Columbia.
Do what?
Columbia.
Oh shit! I didn't pay attention in school, guys. Sorry.
I can tell. It's all good, man.
Like, yeah, going down to Columbia and making a stand, right? Like it takes action for us to move the needle, and it's not like, okay, in Texas, this is a big deal. Texas Department of Insurance versus Stonewater Roofing. I don't know if you've seen that precedence, that court precedence yet, but what happened was a new law that was put out called Unauthorized Practice of Public Adjusting. And, Texans, we're like, this is our right to breathe and live. Like, you can't tell us what to do. So Texas Contractor says, well, it's my right to negotiate. And basically the Supreme Court says, no, it's not. You have to have a license to do that. Right. We need regulation, even though we need to be able to do our job. We have to do it in a way in which is suitable for both the consumer and the insurance, not just like pleasing the insurance, but like actually fulfilling what the policy says, right? Like the insurance carrier, we have to like come to some common ground. And if we don't come to common ground soon, I feel like we're going to have like a huge blow up in this industry. I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but I
agree 110%, man. And, I always they could take, let's say top, 10, 15, 20 different contractors in the nation that can represent us. And then, okay, let's bring the 10 different insurance companies and really try to sit down and go over this. But I mean, it may have to be at the state level before it can get to the national level. But, and I know they want us to calm down on some stuff, and which,
we should.
We should, is some of the stuff we hear, it's a little much. But at the same time, like if we could have a meeting of the minds and all sit down and say, hey, this is what it comes down to, man, I think it would just go so much smoother. I really do. I mean, they can sit and honestly see our side. We could see our side and almost come over with agreement. And, who knows? Maybe every year we meet again. Let's readjust this. Hey, these are the issues that we ran into this year. Say it's coming from the insurance side. Hey, contractors, we don't like what we're seeing this year. We need to dial this back, and this is not going to be allowed for X, Y, and Z. Okay, and then here are a couple of issues that we may have as contractors as well too. We'd like to see this adjusted as well.
Like a round table discussion, like sit down and discuss the issues that are at hand, because ultimately we're going to continue, because like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what we're doing right now as it sits. Insurance is always going to insurance, like from the fucking Lloyds of London day, from the beginning of when insurance was thought of, like they were insuring cargoes going across, the oceans. They're going to do their thing. They're going to insure people. They're going to make their money that way. Contractors, we're going to respond to losses. We're going to help people. Not all of us are out there to just make a profit. We're trying to help the community get rebuilt. We're going to do that. We're going to make our money doing it. Now, we've been going like this and just like clashing. And if we can just like we'll make both sides better. And I think you're right on target. Sitting down every year, talking about the issues, top 10 companies, that's a freaking brilliant idea. I think that, as long as the top 10 companies aren't a part of MRPs, right, and aren't partial to siding or agreeing with said insurance carrier, we'll be in a good position.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're going to be fucked, right?
It's just them arguing with each other, really, at that point.
Yeah, I ultimately go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I would just say there would need to be some kind of vote, like us as contractors, like, hey, who are we voting in, and making sure it's not somebody that's tied into these insurance companies. And I just say 10. I mean, it doesn't need to be the top 10. And the top 10 will probably be scarier because of the way their business models. I think somebody just said something. But how their business models are ran. But you also need to look at the smaller companies as well, like how they're ran, how they like to handle claims as well too.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for Florida and Texas, Allied Trust, we figured out exactly how insurance carriers take care of you. They go out of business and, leave the insurance, the insurer just hanging, and the, contractors as well that have issued final payment, depreciations, etc. Either way that we look at this insurance issue, insurance carriers going into disaster zones and just doing the unthinkable, right? Like we don't talk about it enough, and we don't talk about it in a manner in which that elicits change, I feel, right? Like it's a bad thing, just come and buy this supplementing thing and come and fucking pay for my class. Like, it's just not going to fucking settle anything. What's going to settle things is learning and putting yourselves in the position to make the change. And we're not doing that by sitting around and bitching about it. We've got to actually go out and be a part of the community. I like seeing people. I'm gonna give a little praise to Perimeter Roofing. Perimeter is always out there. Like you will see them paying for kids' lunches. You will see them, making a stand in their community. Raymond Little, like the big thing that gave some fame to Raymond was his State Farm video. Stand for that.
Everybody in the industry knows him. Yeah.
Stand for that.
Film and Top Price, man. They're great guys. They really are.
And it takes those kinds of people, and I think it's going to be organizations, like theirs that are larger PE companies, but all operating as one to really help some of these core issues that we're talking about. Because ultimately, like you're saying, find the 10, biggest companies. I'm thinking they're probably in one of those spots, and get those types of people to get involved with this change. I know that it's crucial.
Because I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, we're all after one common goal. It should be, right, to help the homeowner. That's what the whole insurance deal is, to bring homeowners back to pre-loss condition. Us as contractors, we're here to step in and be able to help homeowners. We've got, and both sides have got to understand that each side has got to make money. We need insurance companies to be profitable to stay in business, to be able to keep insuring homes. They also need contractors to be able to be profitable enough to be able to put back people's homes. So we both have to understand that we both have to make some money. But being able to sit down, kind of like I was saying, picking 10 contractors, Perimeter Roofing. I mean, they're a good example of like a great group that would be fantastic about sitting on that board, and kind of going over that. Not saying that they would definitely take it on, but, you know, somebody like that would be a great example to be able to sit down with these insurance companies and try to just get on the same, you know, level of playing field, if you will, and make sure that we can kind of come to some agreement. And is there going to be disagreements? 110%. But if we can get closer to this, and there's more, you know, there's more kind of a basis of how we're going about this every single way, instead of, because you got, you know, Allstate's doing one thing over here, State Farm's doing something over here, you got Amico over here, you know, and like going into it, like they all just write so much differently, and how you have to handle stuff differently. It just, I mean, it's a wild west to handle each company. And if everybody could just get kind of on the same thing, everybody would know, like, hey, this is what goes, this is how this works, and this is how this doesn't work. You know, this is what you need to do.
And it would take them following the standard too. So like, you know, what we're talking about here, if you're coming in, I know I've seen just a flood of people kind of come in, 4 or 5 people just come in just now. We're talking about getting like a cohesive meeting for the 10 top insurance companies, the 10 top roofing companies, and talking about some of these issues, like what was put into a lot of the groups this week about the insurance firm that went into a loss environment. The IA got loaded up with claims, and they were specifically told what not to pay for while they were out at the losses, specifically full roof replacements. And so this is a breach of insurance code. This is a breach of law. This is a breach of policy. And it's starting at this management level, right? And so we've got to get those people to follow the same standard. And the problem I think that we'll end up running into, I think it'll be great if we can put this together. But the issue we'll run into is the IA firms, because they're not, I mean, it's like they act like they're at a different standard with everyone else, right? Like, let's.
I understand what you're saying, but who is told a lot of this stuff? It's told from the carrier. It's not told from the IA firm. Like, yeah, they may want to step in and be the golden child for these insurance carriers. Like, hey, we're just going to go around denying everything, and we're going to make you a ton of money, you know? But, you know, if we can sit down and come to somewhat of an agreement, and they can have this, from the insurance companies can tell these IA firms, like, no, this is what we came up with, you know, the group of contractors, you know, this is what we came up with, and this is how things are being done, instead of them just coming out and saying, hey, y'all not paying for any roofs. And, you know, these IA firms have not even seen the damages yet. How can you tell them to not go out there and pay for anything? That's wrong. And that's the stuff that needs to stop. You know, go out there. If there's legit damage, pay for legit damage. If there's no damage, don't pay for damage. And contractors on the other side, stop trying to push damage that's not there. You know, it's going to make it go a lot more. In the way some contractors are pushing this damage that's not really there, calling for re-inspections, that's costing these insurance companies money. You know, we just need to get away from that stuff. You know,
this is the problem. I'm glad you said that. That's the problem. Like, we've been doing this for too long. Like, we have done all these conferences, we've paid all these supplement companies, we've learned all this. And I'm not saying that you supplement companies are bad. I'm not saying that this learning was bad, but what I'm saying is the way in which that we instituted and put into practice the learning and the supplements has been and turned our industry inside out. In the last 5 years, our industry has went from flourishing, like insurance claims were like easy. Like, you would, let me ask you the question right now. When was the last time an insurance carrier wrote up a claim and paid for it on the spot? Like, the check issued on the spot. When's the last time? Oh, wait.
Year.
What?
No. I mean, well, we had a crazy storm this year too. So, you know, you get those cat guys that got the checkbook and everything. So, I mean, I had a crazy experience with a State Farm. They're literally, and it's kind of tough to talk about because they shouldn't be sending people out that don't know what they're doing. But she came in, she was like, "Hey, Blake, they sent me all this. I don't really understand what I'm writing for. Can you help me out? I literally got in the van with a State Farm adjuster and helped her write the scope. She got it written up, kind of talked about everything, came out, gave the check to the homeowner. We were done, you know?
Wow.
I wish there could be more of that, you know, because like if they would give them approval and the adjusters fully knew it, and we can talk about this on site, get this handled on site, then there's less of that back and forth stuff. And one thing I've also said too is like, you know, some of these supplement processes get pushed out for, you know, 3, 4, 5 months and stuff. And us contractors, you know, we don't want to have any give at that point. You know, you push the start limits. We got to call, we got to email. There's so much babysitting in a way that it really drags us to the point where you need to have that on there. When realistically, there's some stuff like, okay, you know, yeah, you leave that off, we move forward. If the insurance companies would also look at it this way, like, hey, the faster I can get an approval with this contractor and get on the same page, the cheaper it's probably going to be for the carrier, because it's a lot more turn and burn. Like, that's fine. Yeah, we'll get it knocked out. You got it handled in, you know, 2 to 3 weeks, and we're putting this roof on now, versus 2 to 3 to 4 months there. Nobody wants to give any kind of break on anything or, you know, try to bend over backwards to help the insurance company out when they've drug it out 3 to 4 months.
So, yeah, I don't do insurance because of this. Like, I am so over the insurance game, like playing the whole. Here's the issue: is that Allstate is going to do the same shit Allstate's been doing since Allstate's been Allstating. Okay, like period. Like that, they are going to fucking deny, delay, and defend their position every single time. So I don't care when an adjuster calls me and he's like, "Hey, could you send me this?" No. Call the person you have a contract with. You don't have a contract with me. I don't have a contract with you, and I'm not playing your games. Pay the invoice or get off my line. Like, I'm not playing a game anymore. And I think that if enough contractors would just do that, like if you would just stick your foot down and say, and I get it, like on a supplement process, right? But not off of like original coverage. Like, they haven't even approved the roof on this one yet, and they're asking for all sorts. I'm like, no, you're not getting that from me, because you're not going to approve the claim. I'm going to jump through all these hoops, and you're still going to deny, and we're going to have to take you to court. We can't even send you to a PA. It's got to go to a lawyer, like, or appraisal. And that, I think, if we get fed up with the game that is played and we make our own game for them to play, who's in control? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if we don't take the shit, like they've been using contractors as a springboard for forever, right? We have to go and measure the shingle and then come back and send it to them, and then we send them an NTS. This is a big topic that I posted in the last 2 weeks. The difference between NTS and ITEL and how insurance companies are responding to this. You send them an NTS, and then they're like, we don't accept NTS. It needs to be an ITEL. And then you go get an ITEL, and they accept the ITEL, and then they're like, well, yeah, you can repair it. Like, if you're watching, are you not tired of that? Are you not tired of continually being told what to do? You're the professional. You know what's going on at the property, especially you guys that are in NTS, because you're looking at these shingles, you're staying fresh on these shingles. And if it's 10 years or older, you know it's disco, right? So we are empowered. We have the knowledge. So if they come to us for the knowledge, in my opinion, they need to pay for that. Either the client or the insurance carrier. Because who's paying for the hours in which that we're on the phone with these people? Not the claim. The claim doesn't pay for that. There is not an hour line item that says deal with my insurance adjuster until I'm blue in the face and I've caused 5 fucking arguments between my wife and I. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right? Like if we would just have a little bit different of an outlook on the claims. Now I get it when the insurance adjuster comes out and he's like, listen, let's get this thing taken care of. Let's take care of this policy holder. Let's do this thing. And he needs certain things to do that. Abso-freaking-lutely. But the problem is finding that diamond in the rough, because you're right. Not all adjusters are bad, but dude, a lot of them are. A lot of them are.
I don't know if I would say a lot of them, man, but you know, there's a good amount there, and I think they can say it on our side too. You know,
100%. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, it's. But I mean, like you're saying, I mean, you just kind of get pushed to the point. Let's use like overhead and profit when it's justifiable that it's owed to us, you know, and that they don't want to pay for that. But hey, you drug this thing out 4 to 5 months. You're paying overhead and profit because I've got 3 to 4 months into this stuff. Like that's not even accounted for. Like the everything I've got to do on this job. You know, we may have roofing, siding, windows, gutters, interior work, you know, all this stuff that does take coordination, and they try to come, hey, this is not a complex job. Well, I hate to break it to them, but a roof is a complex job. Is we have mastered to get it done in a day because you can't just leave a house wide open. You can't let 2 guys go at it and hey, it takes them 4 to 5 days. You know, we've got to get this thing done in and out. And these guys have got it down to a science, and they're trying to take that away from us because our guys have it down to a science. I mean, you know, some of our crews are 10, 12 guys.
I think the major issue is that we're not billing for our time. So that there's a part of that could be sucked up into O&P, but that's not even really what O&P is for. O&P is for you, period. Like it's written in that way in Xactimate. They chose the playing field. They chose it, right? And they're making us play on that playing field, right? That's another thing. Is like I don't play on that. Like I don't write exact. I have all kinds of Xactimate. I don't do that shit. I don't play the game. I'm just not doing it. Like, if you want to do business with me, you're doing business with me because you want to do business with me, period, in a discussion. And it is written in their policy that they could pick who they want to deal with and they could pay whatever they charge. I am not writing up for like 60% profit and all this garbage. I do my stuff off Roofer like a lot of other people do as well, right? So there's a margin in there, and I have to have a certain margin to do business. So I'm not going to negotiate that margin with an insurance carrier that thinks that they're smart, right? Like it's not their job. But if we would bill for that time, right? Like, okay, so we go about this, we're coming into this claim, and you know that if I have to negotiate with your insurance, and that's negotiate, there's that word again, right? If I have to do any kind of back and forth with your insurance company, you are going to retain me for X amount of dollars. And here is your invoice. This doesn't go to the carrier. This goes to the client. So the client has to be on board for that. Okay, here is the amount per hour. My retainage is X, like a lawyer or a PA firm, right? Or appraisal, rather. And you have that per hour. Every time I pick up the phone, it's an hour. So just treat me like a lawyer. Every time you pick up the phone and you call me about the claim, I'm not going to charge you. But if I have to call your insurance company, I'm charging you as soon as I pick up the phone. And I'm going to record the phone call for you.
Well,
if we approach it in that way, I think we'll have your insured will do more to settle their claim than fucking try to get you to do it all for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm set up where, you know, and we handle it from start to finish for the homeowners there. But like, you know, we were talking about, man, if we could get these 10 companies and get, you know, insurance to come to the table on this, maybe that's one of the topics. One of the topics, like, hey, once y'all get over a certain amount of days, let's just use 30 days. Then now after that, then a contractor gets to charge for some of his time. So it gives them incentive to get this done, so they're not paying more money out.
I think
they're probably not going to do it. I think that would be a great topic to bring up to them, because some of the stuff
they're charging every single hour. Every single time they pick up the phone, that adjuster's getting paid. Every time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of them are salary and hourly, but I mean, they're paying, and I don't get it, because I mean, it's dragging these claims on more, which means that they've got to have more adjusters, that have got to work more hours. But it would bring their costs down too if they can get this stuff done faster as well.
We're not hourly though. Are you hourly?
No, I'm talking about adjusters.
No, I know. No, but we need to be compensated too.
I agree.
I know that the roofing industry, we have gotten used to almost being a slave to the system. And it's like we serve, and I love that. Like, you have a heart for the community and for the people. Like, just how you answered that, like, we take care of our clients from start to finish, right? Instead of, this is how we do things, you said we take care of our clients. That means that you care for them. You don't want them to have to deal with this, because it's a lot, right? That's a part of what they're getting from you, right? But you are not being compensated for that. And you get irritated by being on the phone with the insurance company months out, and then you have to stand on, like you were saying, the O&P, right? Because we've drawn it out so long. But they're counting on that. Like, they're literally playing this game that if they can draw us out so long that we just can't, like, we just cannot do it anymore, then they've got us right where they want us to be. Every time.
They don't get that from me. I mean, I'm not going to let off the gas. I promise you that.
And
I had a conversation with a customer last night. I mean, she left with like a raving review, just kind of singing my praises and our praises as a company here too. And it's just, when you take this, and it really means a lot to you who you're taking care of, and you're, like you're saying, you're there to actually serve them. You're going to stand up harder for them. Like, is that what you would let happen on your mom's roof or your mom's house, or let them do to your mom? Heck no. Well, don't do that to the homeowner either. So stand up for them, make sure what needs to be done is done.
Yeah.
I think the more that you go out there with the serve mentality, that we get to go help these customers get back to pre-loss condition, walk them through the process. Because unfortunately, like, these insurance companies, if they understand that these homeowners don't understand the process, they're going to take advantage of that, and that's not right. Like, if that wasn't the case, then it would be so much easier on both sides.
That's the only reason why I'm in business. I didn't want this business. I didn't ask for it. I did not want to go back into roofing at all. A friend of mine, reached out. It's here in Houston. I just gotten a tire on my car. It was right after the hurricane. No electricity, no running water. His entire family was displaced. He's in the house. Large home, $4 million home. And he's sitting in this home, and he was like, I need some help. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely need some help. I'll get you hooked up with somebody. And he's like, no, you're the best guy that I know. Like, why don't you do it? I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, no, like, but I need your help. I'm like, yeah, no, but you don't understand. I don't want to do this. Like, you got me at a point where I don't care about this anymore. And he goes, do you care about me? And that shook me, dog. Like, bro. Yeah, I care about you. And he goes, well, will you just help me? Will you please help me? And when he said that, I was like, dang, dog, okay, let me help you, right? Meeting with the adjuster and stuff like that. And through the whole time, the only issue that I have continually with insurance is that you set a standard with them and you set a boundary with them. Hey, I'll get you what you need. This is what I can't do. As long as we stay within the right, we're good, right? And they still hang you out to dry every single time. So this insurance particular, I'm still helping him, by the way. We're getting him taken care of. Appraisal couldn't happen on his claim because he's got some stuff going on with the stuff, and I can't talk about it because I'm not supposed to know about it. So, so he had to hire, I'm sure, like a law firm or whatever. But ultimately, the insurance carrier sent him an email and he shared it with me. And he goes, dude, this is terrible because I heard the entire time, because me and the adjuster just became a U.S. citizen. He's like from Britain, and it's just it was a really cool like interaction with an adjuster, and the adjuster still like hung me out to dry. It's like if your contractor is interpreting policy for you, please have him send in a letter of representation. And it's like, dude, all we asked for was for you to pay the roof and for the windows. We didn't even ask for O&P. All we asked for was pay for the roof, pay for the mitigation items, and pay for the windows that need to be paid for. Everything else we didn't even like. We're like, we'll like just pay for what needs to be paid for. They still wouldn't do it. And that, I think that consistent state of, okay, we're going to act like we're on your side, but then we're going to hang you out every single time. That's my issue with insurance. And I get that the servant mentality, right? Like, trying, dog. But at the same time, I'm not going to get pushed from an insurance carrier into a legal position and compromise myself for anyone. And that's kind of the state of claims in at least my area, because we're just got hit by a huge hurricane. I mean, these guys are playing dirty, like dirty. If you're not getting hail bought, or if it's not just like undeniably like completely storm open damage, bro, you're gonna get hung out to dry. And I think that, you know, it's gonna take more people like you to rub off on people like me to get me dealing with the insurance dog.
And man, like, I mean, in a way, we should almost be order takers, man, because I mean, the insurance companies should be doing what's right. And, you know, they should be calling us like, hey, I need my roof, I need my windows done. Insurance paid everything out, we're good to go. And like, think about this, man. Like, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. You're in Houston, Texas. All right, so let's use Texas, for instance. What about in the middle of Texas, a random storm hits, and there's not people like myself or you that can step in and help them through the process? And if these companies take advantage of them, you know, hey, we didn't see enough damage, when it's really damage is all over the place, but they push that on them and they don't know any better. Like, okay, well, they paid me $1,200. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten out there like, hey, insurance came out here and this is what they're paying. I get out there, I'm like, that thing is smoked. Like, no. Like, we need a re-inspection, you know, and then you got to jump through all these hoops to get a re-inspection. It's like, you know, y'all are forcing me to do stuff and costing us money to prove something to you that should have been handled from the get-go. And that's not right. And
I think if we had more like solid public adjusters and appraisers that would knock doors, like go out and go into the storm zone prior to the adjusters hitting the ground and helping educate along with the contractors, then I think that we would be in a different position. But what has happened is and I'm not hating, because it's business. But public adjusters have found out that they could get more claims by being friends with more roofers instead of knocking doors. And so instead of being on the forefront, they're on the reactive. So they're instead of them acting and being a reaction force, they are a reactive force, and they are after shit has hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
When in 2014, San Antonio, Texas, hailstorm, I'm knocking next to public adjusters, dog. Like, I'm having to stay on top of my toes because homeowners are going to sign a deal with a public adjuster before they sign a deal with me. And if we had more of that, I'm not saying that, I'm not even saying that's a bad thing, right? Like, it would keep contractors on their toes in a way in which that we've got to help the policyholder, and we've got to move this thing forward instead of, okay, we're going to put a PA on the file, and then the PA is going to give it to the law firm, and then now there's 55% taken out of the claim. This is a real issue. We're not talking about this. No one is. And then the homeowner is stuck with it. This is reactive. If we already kind of knew, right? Like, there's a problem with the insurance carrier, right? You've got a State Farm or an Allstate, and you've got decimated home. You need a law firm, right? But if we would go about this in a different manner of like actually coaching the client on both realms, on the insurance, on the PA, on the appraiser, on the law firm, on the contractor, and we were all like a unified front going onto the ground more, like way more, I think that it would change the dynamic of our insurance, like, completely.
Well, I agree with you. I think it definitely would, but that's going to cost these insurance companies a lot more, and they're going to start pushing back on us more. So it's almost like, hey, if we could get this group of people to sit down with these group of insurance carriers across the nation or statewide, however you want to look at it, and get it handled that way. And if they say no to that, then okay, then all right. Well, now we're going to have PAs, appraisers, and lawyers all set up, with these contractors, and it's going to cost them a lot more money. So, like, if they would do us right, it's going to be cheaper for them. And I've got some, a good PA, and I've got a good appraisal guy too as well. I don't want to take every single one of them to that. Though,
no, I don't. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, if there's open coverage for the items in which that you're looking for, i.e., they paid for a couple of shingles and you're saying that it's the entire roof that needs to be replaced, then take it to appraisal. If the insurance adjusters are just not opening coverage, take it to a public adjuster. If you're dealing with a larger loss or even a smaller loss where insurance adjusters not answering the phone, they haven't showed up for their appointments, they say that they're going to approve, and then they send out a repair, even if it's like they're approving the repair, but they're only approving like, an eighth of the repair or a quarter of the repair that they said that they were going to do in person. Like, these are things that you call a lawyer for. In my opinion, that's what should happen. And then everything else, like, okay, the shingle's discontinued, right? You're coming to the loss. The adjuster is like, okay, we can't pay for the entire roof. You're like, well, this is discontinued. Okay, there's a portion of this that if you are arguing that to get it replaced, then that's your responsibility to argue. But if a homeowner is like, okay, hey, I need help, this insurance adjuster is absolutely like, they won't pay for anything, right? If it's within the realm of reason, right? Like, reason, I say go for it. But if not, get help. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Total. right? Because it's all about like getting this thing to the finish line in an appropriate time. Not like, okay, like, dude, I got just like, and I know you do too. You're in Carolina. You got clients that have homes that are not livable. Like the insurance carrier says it's livable, but it's really not. And we've got to move these in a frame in which that is ethical, right? Like a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like, you got to talk to this. You ultimately, you have to have a clear conscience when speaking to this homeowner and telling them in which that how long it's going to take to get this thing approved, how long it's going to take to get to the finish line, right? I just think that if we would have more of a unified front on all sides, from insurance, roofer, public adjuster, appraiser, and law firm. If everyone was like a cohesive, like not all claims need to go to a law firm, and the lawyers will tell you that. And not all claims need to go to a public adjuster, and a good public adjuster will tell you that. And not all claims need to go to an appraiser, and a good appraiser will tell you that, right? But we need enough of the good people to like coach through. And I think that it's going to take like, these roundtable discussions, sitting down, not with like gangster organizations, okay? Not like family ran, gangster ran like organizations where you pay to play. I'm talking in an organization where we've got contractors like me and you, but much, much larger, the big guys, the big guys, and us small guys to sit down together and just like move this thing. I think we should be like the people that found it.
Man, I'm down, man. I would love to be part of a movement that changes the whole outlook on this. Absolutely.
Erica says, let's start one. Erica,
Erica, what's up, bro?
Let's go. So like we've talked about a lot. What's the biggest thing that you think what's the biggest part of change that you think that needs to happen?
Ethical. Like everything needs to be more, like when we're providing something, hey, this is a discontinued product. I provided an NTS report. I don't think I'll State Farm. I don't even care. And they come back and say, hey, well, you can use this other shingle. Like, no, that's not what's on the roof. Per code and per manufacturer requirements, me as a contractor, I'm not allowed to do that. So you're asking me to do something illegal. Well, that's the way we're not paying for anything else. And it's like, that is not being ethical in what they do. We have done our part as contractors, went above and beyond when I feel like it really should be their job to do that. Hey, let's figure out exactly what's on the roof. Okay, yes, this is discontinued. Bam, let's go ahead and pay for it. That's what we signed up with this homeowner. That's what we need to do. But we have to go through and jump through all these hoops to make sure that we get it to them. And then when we provide them all the documentation that shows them, hey, this is why it needs to be switched into a full roof replacement versus your repair, and they still try to fight it, that's dirty. That is dirty. And if we could get them away from being that way, and then, on the flip side, like, some of these contractors being unethical stuff, so like just, I really think if we could just get back down to the basics of, how it used to be 5-7 years ago when it was, they're seeing the documentation and saying, okay, yep, you're right. We do need to replace that. But now they're giving pushback on, hey, you provided us discontinued stuff, but you can go put, elite glass seal up there instead of just, glass seal, whatever it may be. Well, glass seal is discontinued. You're trying to push a product that is 2 different sizes, and now they're trying to tell us to cut the shingle. Get out of here with that. We need to get back to the basics.
Again, I think my opinion stands on how contractors and homeowners should deal with insurance adjusters and or insurance companies. And I'm not the one that started this. Like there contractors that have been doing this kind of contracting for a very long time and have a better way of articulating it. Bradley Garner is one of those people where, his company, Hometown, just they're not going to play the game. So they're gonna do, they got their own margins, and they can't match the insurance to save a life. Like, there's no way their margins are a little higher for that. And so if the client decides to do business with them, the insurance carrier is required to pay that. Like, if they pay that, they have to. And so there's a portion of it where, I even coach sometimes cost incurred model with my clients, where I'm like, okay, well, we can fight with the insurance company until we're blue in the face, or you could just pay me to do it and then submit the invoice to the insurance carrier. If they don't pay it, I've got a lawyer, or you can hire a lawyer. And it's, it's not, I don't feel like the process has to be as difficult as we have been taught to do it. That's just my opinion.
But just like you're saying, like, okay, here's a cost incurred invoice, and then they still push back on that. That's the part that's not right. As long as it's a legit estimate, right?
Right. As long as it's not, it's got to be legit. It's got to be real. You got to do your due diligence on the project as well. But like, those are items that are, as long as they have certain things in their policy. Again, I'm not supposed to know these things, but as long as they're in their policy, they're good. They can, as long as there's open coverage for it, right? If they don't even open coverage for it, then there's some issues. Like, we ran into this with some of you guys are out there like, what are they fucking talking about? Wrapping a roof, right? Like, so you wrap a roof, and that's like a mitigation, right? So that's before the insurance company comes out to the property. Let's say it's a tile roof, and they've got a bunch blown off tiles. You can blue tarp it, or you can put a type of membrane that encases it, encloses. It's called wrap roof. And there's a couple of different guys out there, but Larry Bond, big shout out to Larry Bond, freaking awesome, helped me with it in Louisiana. And we would have to get like prior approval for that, right? Like, ring, hey, we need to wrap this roof. All right, cool. It's going to cost X amount. We need pre-approval before we move forward because this homeowner is writing me a check for it. All right, wrap the roof. Or, sorry, sir, we can't approve this. I'm like, all right, well, ma'am, do you want to go through with it? Right? They're saying no. Well, if they want the upgrade, they're paying the upgrade. And it's ultimately up to the policy holder to get them to pay for that. Right. So I just think that there's a lot of ways that we could change. I think that the adaptivity to this insurance game that we play, like, we've got to continue to adapt. And if we don't, we're going to be left in the dust.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about trying to work with these insurance companies, and that'd be great. I mean, chances of that happening are probably pretty slim. So if it's not, yes, absolutely, we've got to be adaptive, and we've got to do what we need to do as contractors to make sure we're taking care of our homeowners, and like we talked about earlier, to be able to serve them. And if the insurance companies don't want to get on board of trying to make this where we're really all after the end goal of taking care of homeowners, that's what insurance is for, and that's what contractors are for, to help homeowners. We've got a mutual client here, and if they don't want to help the mutual client, and you're going to put up a fight, okay, well, we're about to start swinging, and that's PA, public adjusters, appraisal, whatever it may be. Absolutely. Hopefully not lawyers, because that's nasty when it gets pushed to lawyers.
I will say that, when you push it all the way to a lawyer, you need to definitely be set up with the right firm. I think that who you deal with is always, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's a very solid, concrete fact in life. And if you have the right law firm on the case, then the law firm will manage the expectation of the client the proper way. That way they know that it's going to take some time to get this through to the finish line. But what are your main goals, etc., of getting there? And let's get that accomplished, because not all law firms, not all PAs, not all appraisers, and not all contractors are all cut from the same cloth. There are some that are just absolutely downright nasty individuals. There are people that are good people that are like me and you that are out there to educate the homeowner and to help the contractor help this homeowner in the same respect. But did you also have those guys that are out there that just they're not there to do that? And so I think, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think it's an important that not only contractors but also consumers understand, their role and what it can look like whenever you hire the wrong person.
Yeah.
The most expensive person that you can hire is the cheapest one. And the worst decision that you could ever make for a claim is to go about it in a way in which that is malicious. If you go about it and seek out the right people, hopefully they will find you. And if you're on this and you're like, dude, I don't know what kind of PA I need to hook up with, what kind of law firm I need to hook up with, I don't know any of these people, hit my DMs. I will share that for you. No problem. I will send you out awesome recommendations for those firms.
Yeah, I got a couple of them as well too, so feel free to reach out to me as well.
Hit up Blake. You guys
that are over here in the Carolina. I mean, he's in Texas. I'm over here in the Carolina. So if y'all need a good public adjuster, I've got a great one. Guardian Claims, Josh, and then appraisal, Tom Simmons, man, with Mission Consultant. He's awesome. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love Tom. Freaking absolutely. This industry, we've got a lot of growth. We got a lot of growing to do, but I think that we've got a lot of great people to do it. And I think that, Erica's recommendation of starting an organization of like-minded individuals that aren't in the goal of, say, selling a platform or service, but yet changing our industry, I think that we need to do that. So I'll get with you, Blake. Let's start something.
Let's do it, man.
Going, and let's try
I'm not just saying this to just say this, man. I mean, something like this needs to happen.
Yeah.
And anybody that has any ideas or wanted to start something as well, like, don't hesitate to reach out, because I mean, it's going to take a master of the minds to be able to make this work. So y'all feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. It has been a live stream here in the Roofing on the Rise studios, and it was live. We were actually live today. We got to interact with you. I really love this. I think I might go ahead and start doing this a little bit more. So if you want us to go live, please, in the comments, say go live more. All right. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do that. And if you're looking for amazing storm leads, dude, our sponsors at the ROOFNUTS are where it's at. If you just click right here, it says get leads from the ROOFNUTS. It brings you to a form. It's super, super easy. If you're looking for storm leads that are qualified, that are in a storm damaged area, they're going to provide you the maps. They're going to provide you the dates. They're going to give you the homeowner's name, homeowner's address, telephone number, no contractor, no contract. If you're looking for that, hit that link right now. Again, Blake, thank you so much for coming on. Again, I'm sorry that our first episode didn't go through. I'm going to send it to edit. Maybe, just maybe, we could save that.
It's all good, bro.
Thank you for coming on today. This was awesome. I'm glad that we talked about what we talked about today. It's super important. It's on the forefront. Everybody's talking about it. And if we can make a change, we can make a difference.
Absolutely.